Let me ask you something, Miss Evelyn. Do you even understand the pain she carries? Because nobody acts like this for no reason. We are not going to label her as inconsistent. We're not doing that today. She does not have a behavioral issue. And it's unfair of you to act like she does. And first of all, don't put your finger in my face. That's not how this is going to go. Tamar Braxton has officially blown the lid off the entire Braxton family legacy. And the allegations she's making about Evelyn have left even die-hard fans stunned. During a shocking, emotional Instagram Live, Tamar broke down in tears as she claimed that her mother, Evelyn Braxton, manipulated Towanda when she was a teenager, pushing her into a disturbing relationship with none other than her own brother. Michael Jr. The internet immediately descended into chaos. According to Tamar, Evelyn engineered the entire situation to keep the family from falling apart and used guilt, fear, and spiritual pressure to control Towanda's mind and body. Tamar says Evelyn framed it as a sacrifice. She allegedly told Towanda that Michael Jr. was drifting away from the family and that only Towanda could keep him from leaving. But Tamar insists this wasn't love. It was emotional abuse. It was spiritual manipulation. And it was incest. Carried out through coercion, Tamar said. She's done holding the secret inside. The lies end now, even if exposing the truth destroys the Braxton legacy completely. The family once seen as a pillar of gospel-centered unity has now become, in her words, a generational horror story hidden behind reality TV. And the worst part? Towanda never had a choice. Tamar didn't even plan to go live that night. You could see it clearly. Her eyes swollen, her hands trembling, wrapped tightly in a robe, like it was the only thing holding her together. No makeup, no ring light, just the dim glow of a lamp and decades of pain pushing their way up. Fans thought she was logging on to talk about music or maybe to throw light shade at someone, but the instant she sighed into the phone, everyone watching felt something break inside her. "I can't do this no more," she whispered, her voice splintering. "Y'all don't know the things this family has done, the things Mama made us do." Comments flooded the screen. "Tay, what happened?" "Tamar, you're scaring us. Who hurt you?" Tamar didn't read a single one. She stared straight into the camera. Like she was confessing to someone higher than the audience, Mama forced Towanda into something. Something I can't unsee. Something I've been silent about for too long. Viewers leaned in. Screenshots began flying across group chats. Blogs started screen recording immediately. Tamar's whole body shook as she continued. She made her sleep with Michael Jr. For a moment, there was total silence on the live. And then chaos. The comments exploded. Thousands of messages per second. People couldn't believe she meant what she said. Some thought she misspoke and meant Michael Sr. Others assumed she was. Speaking metaphorically, some thought Tamar must be having another breakdown. But Tamar shook her head hard. Tears streaming. No, I meant what I said. Mama made her do it. Towanda was a kid, a child. And Mama told her she had to keep the family together. She slapped a hand over her mouth like even she was afraid of the truth spilling out. The phone camera jerked as she paced the room, still clutching it. Michael Jr. was pulling away, she said. He didn't want to sing with us anymore. He was tired of Mama controlling everything. And Mama, she didn't know how to handle losing control. So she told Towanda to do the unthinkable. Tamar's voice cracked again. She told her, "You're the strong one. You're the only one he listens to. You have to keep him close." She glared into the camera through her tears. That wasn't family unity. That was abuse. Was manipulation. That was Evelyn Braxton using her daughter's body to maintain control. Tags were born instantly. Hashtag Protect Towanda. Hashtag Evelyn Exposed. Hashtag Braxton Secrets. Tamar wiped her face with her sleeve. Towanda didn't want to. She cried. I heard her. I heard everything. I was too young to understand back then. But now I know exactly what Mama was doing. She told Towanda that if she refused, she'd ruin the family. She said God would punish her. Tamar shook her head, disgusted. That wasn't God. That was Mama's control. Some viewers begged her to stop. Others begged her to continue. Tamar kept going, her voice suddenly, eerily calm. And let me tell y'all something else. When it was over, Mama pretended like it never happened. She told Towanda, "This is what families do. We sacrifice." That word sacrifice echoed like a curse through the live stream. Towanda went silent after that. Tamar whispered, "She lost something that night." Mama told her to put on a smile and keep going like nothing happened. Then Tamar reached off screen and held up a small, worn purple journal. "This is my diary from when I was 12. I wrote about that night. I didn't even understand what I was writing, but the truth was there." She flipped to a page. "Right here." Mama told Wanda to go in his room. Mama said she had to make him stay. I heard Wanda crying. I hid in the hallway. Tamar's voice completely broke. I was a kid watching another kid get sacrificed for a family that didn't protect us. And that was only the beginning. Morning hadn't even broken, but New York City was already buzzing. Screens lit up everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, each one echoing the same thunderous rumor. Remy, cheating, caught slipping again. Papoose sat at the edge of the bed, phone in hand, jaw clenched so tight it felt wired shut. Night before had been chaos, but this morning, it was war. He scrolled. More screenshots, more blurry videos. More people tagging him like he needed updates about his own marriage. But it was one message, just one that made everything inside him go still. "Pap, you okay?" It was from his daughter. He didn't answer. Couldn't his fingers felt heavy, like his whole life had doubled in weight overnight. He stood, pacing the room, each step echoing through the silence. Memories flashed like a broken film, real anniversaries, concerts, nights they stayed up laughing, nights they fought, until one of them walked out. The good, the ugly, the complicated. But this was different. For the first time, the thought hit him like a punch. What if this time it's really over? His phone buzzed again. This time it was a call. Her name lit up the screen. Remy Ma. He stared at it. The ringtone cut the air like a siren. He didn't pick up. Not because he didn't want answers, but because he wasn't ready to hear them. Not yet. He walked to the window. Below him, the city kept moving like nothing had happened. Whole world wasn't collapsing in the quiet of his apartment. Then came the knock on the door. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Pap froze. Because he already knew who it was, and whatever happened next was going to decide everything. Papoose didn't move at first. Those 3 knocks hung in the air like smoke heavy. Warning, impossible to ignore. His pulse thudded in his ears. As he stepped toward the door, each footstep slow and deliberate, like he was walking into a courtroom delivering his own verdict. Another knock. Softer this time. Almost guilty. Pap finally unlocked it. The door opened just enough for him to see her. Remy, no glam. No attitude, no cameras. Just her standing in the hallway wearing last night's same hoodie, swollen and tired, like she hadn't slept either. For a second, neither of them spoke. The silence felt like its own person standing between them. Remy's voice cracked first. "Pap, can I come in?" He didn't answer with words, just stepped aside. Barely enough. She walked past him, slow, cautious, like she didn't know if the floor would hold her. Papoose shut the door but didn't turn around. Remy stood in the middle of the room, hands shoved into her sleeves, breathing uneven. "I know what it looks like," she whispered. But it wasn't. Pap cut her off. Remy. Just her name. But the weight behind it made her eyes drop to the floor. He finally turned to face her. The look he gave was an angry knot, the explosive kind she expected. It was worse. It was disappointment. Hurt. A kind of quiet pain that felt irreversible. "Do you know how it feels?" he said, voice low. "To find out from the internet before I hear it from you." Remy swallowed hard. Her voice trembled. "Pap, I messed up." "I didn't." He shook his head. "You were there with him." She closed her eyes like the truth itself burned. A tear finally slid down her cheek. "I'm not asking you to. Forgive me right now," she whispered. "Just let me explain what really happened." Papoose stared at her. The woman he built a life with. The woman he defended. The woman he waited for while she was locked away. The woman he swore would never hurt him like this. He walked past her and sat down. Slow, controlled, but shattered inside. Then talk, he said quietly. Because this is your only chance. Remy wiped her face, took a shaking breath, and lifted her eyes to his. Because what she was about to say was going to change everything they thought they knew. Remy stood, their hands trembling, breath shaking as if every word she was about to say could either save their marriage or bury it for good. She wiped her face, stepped closer, but kept enough distance to show she knew she had no right to cross that line anymore, Pap. It wasn't what they're saying. Papoose didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't give her even a hint of comfort. He sat there, still as stone. Then what was it? Remy hesitated, pulling her sleeves up and down like she was trying to hold herself together. I went there to talk business, she whispered. I swear that's all it was. Pap's jaw tightened. At midnight, she winced. That question hit like a slap. I know how it looks, but I was wrong for going there. I shouldn't have been alone with him. I shouldn't have let it get that far. Pap looked up sharply. Get that far? Her eyes widened, panicking at the phrasing. No dash, no Pap, nothing happened. He tried to get close, but I stepped back. I told him it wasn't like that. I told him I'm married. Papoose stood up suddenly. Remy jumped at the movement. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't curse. Didn't break anything. But the calm in his voice? That was the scariest part. If you told him you were married, Pap said, then why didn't you tell me you were meeting him at all? Remy's lips parted, no words came out, because she had no answer. Her silence was louder than any confession. Pap shook his head slowly, pacing away from her. I defended you. I fought for you. Even when the world said you were slipping, I said, never Remy, not my wife. He turned back to her, eyes burning with a hurt she'd never seen from him before. And now I'm sitting here trying to figure out whether you betrayed me or just played me. Remy stepped forward, voice breaking. Pap, please. I made a stupid mistake, but I didn't cheat on you. I swear on everything I love. He looked at her, really looked. She was crying for real, not drama, not ego, just raw, terrified honesty for a moment. He softened, just a moment then. Tell me this, he asked quietly. If nobody had recorded it, would you have ever told me? Her breath caught, her pupils shrank, and the answer he feared showed in her eyes before she even spoke. Remy closed her eyes, voice barely above a whisper. Probably not. And that was the moment something inside Papoose broke. Not loud, not violent, just a simple silent breaking, like the snap of a thread that had been holding everything together. He whispered, then it wasn't a mistake, Remy. It was a choice. Remy's knees buckled. Sob escaped before she could swallow it. Papoose turned away from her, and for the first time in their entire relationship, she didn't know if he was ever coming back. The room felt frozen, not cold frozen, as if even the air knew something irreversible had just happened. Remy stood there shaking, tears dripping onto the floor like evidence. Papoose didn't turn around, didn't say another word. He just stood with his back to her, breathing slow, steady, controlled, too controlled. Finally, he spoke quiet but sharp enough to cut bone. Pack a bag. Remy's head snapped up. What? Nope, please, listen. He raised a hand. Not yelling. Quiet. Dead quiet. I'm not asking you to leave forever. He swallowed hard. But right now, I need space. And I need truth. I can't breathe with you standing in front of me lying to yourself. Remy stepped forward, voice raw. I'm not lying to myself. I'm telling you everything. He turned around finally, eyes glassy, but not crying. Not anymore. He was past sadness, past shock, past anger. This was acceptance. It's the kind that hurts more than rage ever could. You're telling me everything? After you got caught, he stared straight into her. If that video never leaked, I would have slept next to you, kissed you goodnight, protected you from the world. While you hid the truth from me. Remy covered her mouth, sobbing. Pap, don't do this. Don't push me out, please. He shook his head slowly. I'm not pushing you out. A pause. I'm letting myself breathe. Remy stepped closer, hands reaching for him, hesitant, desperate. I'll fix it. I'll do anything. Just don't give up on us. He stepped back before she could touch him. That small backward step hit her harder than any argument ever had. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. I'm not giving up on us. He looked away. I'm giving up on pretending this didn't hurt me. Then he walked to the door, opened it, and didn't look at her as he said, take the guest room at your cousin's place for a few days. I'll call when I'm ready. To talk? Remy wrapped her arms around herself, shaking. Pap, please don't send me away. He closed his eyes, hurt cutting through him, but his voice didn't change. Go, Remy. And she knew. There was no fight left to give. She grabbed her bag with trembling hands, walked past him, and stepped into the hallway. He didn't watch her leave. He'd see. Oh, ULD in single quotes. The door clicked shut behind her, echoing through the apartment like a gunshot. And when silence returned, Papoose finally exhaled. One long, broken breath, the sound of a man who just let the love of his life walk out the door, because staying hurt too much. The apartment felt too quiet now, not peaceful, just empty. Papoose sat on the couch, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like the answers might magically appear in the hardwood. His phone lay beside him, blowing up with notifications, blogs posting updates. Friends sending question marks, fans tagging him in the latest Remy Ma scandal think pieces. He ignored them all. For once, the world could run its mouth without him. He closed his eyes and rubbed his face, exhaustion pressing down on him like a weight he couldn't shake. Then, sudden pounding on the door. Not knocking, pounding. 3 hard thuds. Papoose stiffened. Not Remy. She knocked softly. This was someone with fire in their chest. He stood, walked to the door, and opened it. Tanned, froze. Standing there was the last person he expected. Fat Joe, his expression. Thunder. No smile. No greeting. Just raw, frustrated disappointment. Open the door, bro, Joe said, pushing past him before Pap could even reply. Papoose shut the door slowly, bracing himself. Joe turned around, hands on hips, shaking his head, like he'd been holding back a storm all morning. You sent Remy out the house? Pap didn't answer right away. He just met Joe's stare. I needed space. Joe scoffed. Space, Pap. The whole world is tearing her apart right now. And you send her to a cousin's couch? After everything you two been through? Papoose clenched his jaw. I didn't send her to the streets. I just needed Joe. Cut him off, voice rising. No, you're hurt. I get it. But that woman is drowning right now, Pap. I just came from her cousin's place. She looks broken. Pap's chest tightened, but he kept his tone steady. She should have thought about that before meeting up with another man at midnight. Joe stared at him for a long moment. Then his voice dropped. Calmer, deeper, Pap. You know Remy. You know her heart. And you know she ain't stupid enough to cheat on you with the whole world watching. Pap looked away. That video looked bad. Joe stepped closer. I know. I told her the same thing. He exhaled sharply. But I also been with y'all from day one. And I know loyalty when I see it. She messed up, yeah. She lied, yeah. But cheating? I don't believe that for 1 second. Papoose swallowed hard. Joe saw at the crack in his armor, so he softened. Pap, you're allowed to hurt. You're allowed to need time. But don't make decisions from pain. Pain lies. Pain exaggerates. Pain ruins good things. Pap sat down, rubbing his temples. Joe. She admitted she wouldn't have told me if nobody recorded it. Joe paused, closed his eyes, nodded slowly. Yeah, that part messed her up too. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Joe sat beside him, voice low. Don't let this be the beginning of the end for y'all. Papoose looked at him, eyes tired, soul tired. Then what do I do? For the first time all morning, Fat Joe smiled just a little. Start by not running from the woman you love. Pap didn't answer. COULD. In single quotes, because deep down, he knew Joe was right. But knowing what to do and being ready to do it were two completely different battles. And Pap wasn't sure which one he was fighting yet. Remy sat on the edge of her cousin's guest bed, hoodie pulled over her head, shaking hands, gripping a pillow like it was the only thing keeping her anchored. Her phone was face down. She couldn't look at it anymore. Every notification, every headline, every comment felt like a dagger, like a dagger.
Because I can lose the blogs. I can lose the industry. I can lose the world. Her voice broke completely. But I can't lose you, Pap. Not you. The message ended. Silence. Real silence. Papoose sat there, phone in his hand, trying to breathe around the weight crushing his chest. He wasn't angry anymore. He wasn't confused. For the first time since the scandal broke, he felt something else. The truth. Her truth. And it hurt just as much as his own. He pressed the phone to his forehead, whispering into the empty room. Damn you, Remy. Why'd you wait so long to tell me that? His voice cracked. Because now the real battle began. Not between him and her, but between his heart and his pride. Papoose sat in silence long after the voice note ended, elbows on the table, hands laced together like he was praying for clarity. His chest felt heavy, not from anger now, but from something far worse. Understanding. He finally realized what Remy hadn't been able to say to his face. He finally heard her brokenness. He finally felt the truth behind her mistake. And that made everything complicated. He stood up slowly, grabbed his keys, grabbed his jacket, then stopped. His hand hovered over the door handle. His pride whispered, "Don't go to her. She hurt you." But his heart whispered back louder, "She's hurting too." Papoose took a long, shaky breath, and for the first time since this whole nightmare began, he followed his heart. He left the apartment. The drive. Night had fallen by the time he pulled up outside Remy's cousin's building. The streetlights flickered overhead, casting long shadows across the pavement. Pap sat in the car for a moment, gripping the steering wheel, staring at the building like it was a mountain he wasn't sure he could climb. Going in didn't mean forgiving. Going in didn't mean forgetting. But it meant something more important. He wasn't walking away without understanding her pain. He got out of the car and walked toward the entrance, each step slow but certain. Inside, he climbed the stairs, stopping in front of the apartment door. He could hear faint sobbing. His stomach twisted. He knocked. Softly. Not demanding. Not angry. Not cold. Just enough so she knew it wasn't the cousin. It was him. The crying stopped. Footsteps shuffled closer. The lock clicked. The door opened. And there she was. Remy. Eyes red. Face swollen. Hoodie damp from tears. She froze when she saw him, like her body couldn't believe he was standing there. For a full 5 seconds, neither of them moved. Then Remy's lip trembled. Pap. Her voice was nothing like the voice note. This was real. Raw. Wounded. Papoose looked at her, really looked, and his chest cracked open again. He didn't step forward. He didn't hug her. But he didn't walk away either. He just whispered, "We need to talk." Remy nodded fast, wiping her face clumsily. Okay, yeah, come in." But Pap shook his head. "Not here." She blinked, confused. He took a breath. "Come with me." Her eyes widened. A tiny spark of hope flickered, the first she'd felt in days. "Pap, does that mean?" He held up a hand gently. "It means I'm ready to hear everything. In person. Not through messages. Not through tears. Face to face." Remy nodded, swallowing hard. She grabbed her coat with shaking hands, barely able to control her breathing. When she stepped into the hallway, Papoose closed the door behind her. They stood there together, not touching, not smiling, just two broken people trying to figure out if the pieces still fit. Then Pap turned and started walking toward the exit. Remy followed beside him. Slow, quiet, scared, hopeful. And for the first time since the scandal exploded, they were walking together. But where they were headed, neither of them truly knew. Papoose felt his lungs tighten as the room fell into a silence so sharp it could cut. Remy stood in front of him, not spinning excuses, Not dodging, not deflecting, just standing there like a woman who'd run out of ways to hide the storm she created. But before she could speak again, a soft voice appeared behind her. "Pap, can we talk?" Papooses' head snapped up. It wasn't Remy. It was Jason, the young battle rapper everyone kept tying Remy to. The one the blogs swore she cheated with. The one whose name had been haunting Pap for days. Seeing him in the doorway was like gasoline thrown over a burning building. Papoose shot up from the couch so hard the cushion lifted. His fists balled. His heartbeat roared. Remy quickly stepped between them. "Pap, stop. He's not here to fight." Jason lifted his hands, voice low but steady. "I came to clear my name. And yours." Papoose didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Jason swallowed hard. "Nothing happened between me and Remy. Yes, we got close because she was mentoring me. Yes, we were around each other a lot. But that's all it was." Pap scoffed. "That's what everybody says when they get caught." Jason stepped forward, not scared, just tired. "Look at me, man. If I crossed a line with your wife, would I walk into your home? Would I put myself in front of you?" Papoose didn't answer. The truth was, it didn't make sense. The rumors were loud, but the evidence was thin. Remy finally spoke, voice cracking. "Pap, I messed up. Not like that. But I wasn't honest with you. I let things look bad. I let things get out of control. I should have shut it down sooner." Papoose closed his eyes. There it was. Not betrayal. Not cheating. But negligence. Disrespect. A wound made from carelessness, not infidelity. Still a wound. Still deep. Jason took a breath and set his phone on the table. "I brought the full messages. The real ones. The ones nobody on the internet saw." Pap's eyes narrowed. Remy tensed. Jason pushed the phone toward him. "Go ahead. Read them. They'll tell you everything." Papoose stared at the device. This was it. The moment that would decide their marriage. Their future. Their entire legacy. He reached for the phone. Hands shaking. Heart racing. Mind bracing for whatever truth waited inside. Just as his finger unlocked the screen, a loud crash came from outside the apartment. Voices. Footsteps. Chaos. Someone was in the hallway. Someone yelling. "Pap, open the door. You need to see this. Now." Papoose froze. So did Remy. So did Jason. Because the voice on the other side of the door wasn't a stranger. It was Fat Joe. And whatever he was bringing was about to blow this story wide open. Papoose's heart raced like a drumline on fire. Fat Joe's voice outside wasn't just loud, it was urgent, panicked even. "Pap, open up. You need to hear this." Remy stepped back, pulling the hoodie tighter over her face. Her breath was shallow, rapid. She had been holding on for weeks, and now the storm was here. Pap didn't answer immediately. He glanced at Jason. Jason shrugged, unsure if he should step in or step out. Pap finally walked to the door. He cracked it open a few inches. Fat Joe shoved something into his hand before he could even react. A small envelope. Plain, unmarked, heavy with something ominous. "You need to see this," Joe said, voice almost shaking. It came straight from someone who knows everything. Every post, every message, every lie the blogs ran. They've been hiding part of the truth. Pap tore open the envelope. Inside, a thick stack of printed messages, screenshots, and videos, some he'd seen before, some he hadn't. His eyes widened. He blinked. He swore under his breath. "No, this can't be real," he muttered. Remy stepped closer, trembling. "Pap, what is it?" Pap didn't answer at first. He was too busy scanning the first message. It was a video clip. Short, grainy, and unmistakable. It showed someone inside the studio, someone he trusted, talking about the moment everything spun out of control. Not the blogs. Not Jason. Not even him. But someone closer than he ever imagined. The words on the video were chilling. She never lied to him about cheating. She lied because she was protecting him from what really happened that night. Papoose dropped the envelope. Everything went silent except the pounding of his own heartbeat. Remy stepped forward, voice shaking. "Pap, I told you everything I could, but I didn't know all of it either. Someone's been controlling the story. the narrative, keeping us blind to the truth. Pap's head dropped. He felt like the floor had fallen out from under him. The camera on his phone buzzed. Another message. Another video. And this one. This one was from someone he never expected. It had been sent anonymously. The caption read simply, "You think you know the truth. You don't." Pap stared at it, frozen. And for the first time, he realized this battle wasn't just about Remy or Jason or the blogs. It was bigger. Much bigger. And it was only just beginning. Papoose sat frozen on the edge of the couch, the envelope of secrets still in his hands. Remy stood beside him, gripping his arm as if her own strength had run out and she needed his to stay upright. The video messages, screenshots, and texts made his head spin. The story he thought he knew, the story the blogs told, the story he feared, was only half the truth. And now the anonymous sender was forcing them to see the other half. "Pap," Remy whispered, voice trembling. "We have to go see them. Whoever this is, they're the only ones who know everything." Papoose shook his head. "You're saying we trust someone who's been hiding in the shadows all this time?" She nodded, eyes desperate. "We don't have a choice. If we don't face them, we'll never know the full truth. Not about me. Not about us." The location. Fat Joe had called ahead, arranging a meeting at an old recording studio on the outskirts of the city. The kind of place where doors are heavy, cameras are few, and secrets linger like smoke in the walls. Pap drove in silence, Remy beside him, both of them bracing for whatever awaited inside. The city lights blurred past, each street lamp a pulse in their chests. When they arrived, the building was quiet. Too quiet. The front door was cracked, just like the envelope from earlier suggested. Pap pushed it open. The studio smelled like old vinyl and secrets. A single dim light illuminated a figure sitting in the center of the room, back turned to them. "You're here," the figure said, voice low, calm, almost teasing. "I wasn't sure you would come." Pap took a step forward. "Who are you? What is all of this? Why have you been controlling the story?" The figure slowly turned. A hooded jacket hid most of their face, but the voice carried authority, cold and deliberate. "You think this is about cheating? About lies? No, it's about truths you weren't ready to face." Remy stepped forward, her hands shaking. "What truth? What are you talking about? Is this about me?" The figure tilted their head. "Yes, it's about you. About Pap. About every choice you think you made freely. But every path was influenced. Every step monitored." Pap felt his chest tighten. He gripped the edge of the table. "Who? Why? Why do all this? For what?" The figure sighed, almost regretfully. "To protect you, in the beginning. But protection turned to control. And now, the only way out is to see everything. All of it. No edits. No filters. No hiding." Remy's eyes widened. "Everything? Are you serious? After all this pain, you want to show us more?" The figure nodded slowly. "Yes. Only then can you truly decide what is yours to forgive, and what is yours to never forget." Pap swallowed hard, voice low. "Fine, show us. But know this, if we walk out of here, it's the last time we pretend ignorance." The figure smiled faintly under the hood. "Good. That's all I ever wanted. The truth. Unfiltered. Unhidden. Unstoppable." And with that, the lights flickered on. Screens lined the walls, each one displaying a different moment from their past, conversations, behind-the-scenes clips, messages, everything the public had never seen. Pap and Remy froze, horror and disbelief washing over them. The manipulator behind the chaos, the shadow that had controlled the narrative, was finally revealing themselves. And nothing in their lives or their relationship would ever be the same. Papoose and Remy stood frozen, the glow from the dozens of screens painting their faces in harsh, unforgiving light. Each screen played a moment they had never seen or moments they had buried, refusing to remember. A video of Remy, alone in the studio, rehearsing lyrics with Jason. Nothing inappropriate, but the captions and voiceovers added a sinister twist. Text messages from people claiming to be friends, but actually feeding misinformation to the blogs. Hidden clips of conversations Pap thought were private, now replayed as evidence of manipulation. Papooses' hands shook. This is insane. Who would do this? The hooded figure leaned back in the chair, calm as a storm. I told you. Every step of your life was influenced. Not by chance, by design. Remy's voice quivered. Design? Who are you? Who did all this? The figure lifted their head slightly, revealing just enough to shock them to the core. Someone you trusted. Someone you thought was protecting you. But in reality, was orchestrating everything. Pap's heart stopped. No, it can't be. Not them. The figure smiled faintly, almost cruelly. Oh, it's them. Every message, every lie, every rumor you chased, it was part of their plan. To break you, to test you, to see if you'd survive the storm together. Remy shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. This isn't just about me. It's about us. Everything we've fought for, it's been a lie. The screen shifted. A clip of Pap's first major fight with Remy, edited subtly to make him look unreasonable. Hidden camera footage from a family event, showing whispers and secret glances that made every betrayal feel orchestrated. Messages between friends and associates, carefully manipulated to appear like affairs, leaks, and scandals. Papoose felt like he was collapsing inward. Everything he had believed, everything he had feared, was now confirmed as manipulation at a level he hadn't imagined possible. The figure's voice cut through the chaos. Now you see why the world thought you were the problem. Why everyone judged her. Why every story seemed bigger than it was. This was never about truth, it was about control. And you were the pieces on the board. Remy finally spoke, voice breaking but resolute. Pap, if we survive this, we survive it together. We don't let anyone control our story again. Ever. Papoose looked at her, eyes burning. Together. No matter what. But first, we have to understand everything. Every lie, every betrayal. We can't fight ghosts. The figure leaned forward, the hood dropping back slightly. Then watch. Learn. And know, the next revelation will change everything you thought you knew about each other and yourselves. Pap and Remy exchanged a look. Fear, anger, hope, and determination all colliding. The first video clicked on, and the story they had lived, the story they thought was theirs, was gone. What played next would redefine everything. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the screens. Pap and Remy leaned closer, eyes wide, hearts hammering. The first video began to play. It was a home recording, grainy, shaky, yet unmistakable. The voices were familiar. Pap's, Remy's, and someone else. A whispered conversation that had been hidden from them for years. One that painted every misunderstanding, every rumor, every fight in a terrifying new light. The figure in the hood spoke, voice low and deliberate. Watch closely. This is where the manipulation started. This is the thread that unraveled everything. On screen, a scene of a party years ago. Pap is laughing, unaware, while someone off-camera subtly plants a seed, a whispered lie about Remy's loyalty. A text pops up on the screen, time-stamped months before the scandal broke. If he knew the truth, he'd never trust her again. Another clip, Remy talking to a friend in confidence, unaware she is being filmed. The footage is edited to make her words appear guilty, suspicious. Pap's stomach twisted. No, this can't be real. This isn't her voice. The hooded figure shook their head. It is her voice, just manipulated. Every doubt you ever had, fueled. Every sleepless night, orchestrated. Remy covered her mouth, shaking. They made me look like I was lying, cheating, betraying him. And I believed it too sometimes. I thought I was going crazy. Pap's hands trembled. All those nights, all those fights, all those blogs, posts, whispers. It wasn't us against each other. It was them against us. Another video flickered onto the screens. This one showed someone tampering with messages and emails, deliberately twisting context, even changing timestamps. The hooded figure's voice cut through. Every argument, every tear, every sleepless night, orchestrated to make you doubt yourself, doubt her, doubt everything. And the world believed it. Pap sank into a chair, silent. Remy collapsed beside him, gripping his arm. Tears streamed down both their faces. For the first time, the weight of years of manipulation, lies, and chaos fully landed. Pap finally spoke, voice rough, shaking. We've been living someone else's story this whole time, believing it, letting it destroy us. The hooded figure leaned back, watching silently, letting the truth sink in. And this, the figure said, voice low, is only the beginning. Pap and Remy exchanged a glance, a mixture of fear and resolve. Then show us everything, Pap whispered. No lies. No edits. No more shadows. The figure nodded. You asked for the truth. Now brace yourselves. The next revelation will change everything you thought about who you are and who you trusted. The screens flickered again, and the second revelation began to play. The second video started abruptly, the grainy footage flickering on the screens. Pap and Remy leaned in, holding their breath. It was a private conversation, recorded without their knowledge. The voices were unmistakable. Pap's voice, calm and unaware. Remy's voice, anxious, careful. And the unseen manipulator, whispering, guiding, controlling. The words were subtle at first, almost casual. But the intent was deadly. Every sentence was a seed planted in doubt, fear, and mistrust. You think she's lying, the off-camera voice said, deliberate. But she's only telling you half. You'll never see the other half, unless you doubt yourself. Pap's fists clenched. That's not real. I didn't. But the footage continued. Clips of Remy speaking with friends, carefully edited to make it seem like she was hiding things. Texts on screen, edited subtly, making small lies look like betrayals. Videos of Pap being provoked, led into arguments, then shown only the reaction. His anger made him look irrational. Remy's hand flew to her mouth. They set us against each other, made me doubt you, made you doubt me. Every fight, every sleepless night. Pap's voice cracked. They destroyed everything we built, everything we believed in, all while we thought we were failing each other. The hooded figure's voice cut in, calm but haunting. You see now, this wasn't chance. This was strategy. Every lie, every betrayal, every rumor, crafted to control you, to divide you. And the world watched, believing it was real. Pap's head dropped, eyes glassy. All this time, we weren't the problem. We were the targets. Remy leaned against him, trembling, tears streaming. Then who is behind all this? The figure leaned forward, finally dropping the hood. Their face was revealed. It was someone they had trusted implicitly, someone they never suspected could manipulate them so completely. I told you the truth would change everything, the figure said softly. Now, it begins. Pap and Remy stared, hearts racing, realizing that everything they knew, every fight, every secret, every rumor, had been orchestrated by the very person they trusted most. And the final piece of the puzzle, the ultimate revelation, was still coming. The hood was removed completely, and Pap and Remy gasped in unison. It was someone they had trusted without question, someone whose presence had always been a constant in their lives. Someone whose guidance they had believed was protection. It's you, Pap whispered, voice trembling. All this, it was you? The figure nodded, calm, almost mournful. Yes. Every whisper, every doubt, every fight, every sleepless night. I orchestrated it. But it wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you. Remy shook her head, tears pouring down her face. Prepare us? For what? You made us question everything we believed, everything we felt. You turned us against each other, against ourselves. The figure's eyes softened, but their voice remained steady. I did it because the world would never let you survive otherwise. You were vulnerable, too trusting, too naive. I had to make you strong, make you see the truth, even if it meant pain. I had to control the narrative so you wouldn't be destroyed by it first. Pap's chest heaved, anger and disbelief crashing over him. Control the narrative? You manipulated my life, Remy's life, our relationship, all of it, for what you thought was protection. The figure nodded slowly. Yes, I know it sounds cruel, and it is. But the world doesn't play fair. I wanted you to survive, even if it meant being the villain in your eyes for a while. Remy's voice trembled with fury. You weren't protecting us. You were puppeteering us. Every doubt, every fear, you planted it. And for what? some twisted sense of preparation. The figure leaned back, expression unreadable. It was the only way. And now, you see the full picture. Now you know. The truth is finally in your hands. Pap's hands clenched into fists, voice shaking with rage. The truth doesn't excuse manipulation. It doesn't undo the pain. It doesn't fix the years we lost, the trust broken, the sleepless nights, the fights, the tears. Nothing about this makes it okay. The figure's eyes glimmered with something like sorrow. I know, and I will not ask for forgiveness. I only ask that you understand why it had to be done, and that you decide what to do with this knowledge. Remy stared at the person in disbelief. We've spent years living someone else's story, believing lies you fed us. How do we ever move forward? The manipulator's voice softened, almost a whisper. By taking back your story. By choosing what is yours to believe, what is yours to protect, and what you leave behind. You're stronger than you know. You always were. You just had to see it for yourselves. Pap and Remy exchanged a long, silent glance. The anger, the betrayal, the heartbreak, every emotion collided. But beneath it all, a seed of clarity began to take root. They were no longer just victims. They were witnesses. And now, they held the truth. The screens behind them flickered once more, signaling that the next revelation awaited, the one that would finally offer a path to closure, healing, or complete unraveling. The screens glowed again, each one showing a new set of footage. Pap and Remy stood side by side, hearts pounding. Every clip, every text, every edited conversation was a mirror of the life they had lived under deception. The hooded figure's voice echoed. You now understand who controlled your story. But understanding is only the first step. You must confront what that control cost you, individually and together. The first clip played. Pap arguing with a friend over a misunderstanding that had been manipulated to escalate. Remy alone, crying, unsure if she could trust anyone, including Pap. Both of them missing opportunities, losing relationships, and doubting themselves. Remy's hand flew to her mouth, trembling. All of this, every fight, every loss, it wasn't real. We were set up to fail, weren't we? Pap's joy tightened. It was real to us, though. The pain, the heartbreak, that was ours. But yes, it was manufactured, pushed by someone who thought it knew better than we did. The next set of screens showed public fallout. Old social media posts twisted out of context. Blog posts, news snippets, and screenshots designed to ruin reputations. Friends and family unknowingly complicit, their words used against Pap and Remy. Pap's hands trembled as he muttered. All this, the lies, the mistrust, we weren't just living in a bubble of pain. We were living in a cage. A cage made of our own lives. Remy, her eyes glassy, whispered. And now, the world sees it all. Everyone knows the truth, and there's no going back. The manipulator leaned forward, calm but unwavering. Correct. But you also now have the power to redefine everything. Your relationships, your reputation, your life. The manipulation ends here, because you are no longer unaware. You see it, you feel it, and you understand it. Pap looked at Remy, a mixture of sorrow, anger, and determination in his eyes. We survived the lies. We survived the betrayal. Now, we survive ourselves. Remy nodded, squeezing his hand. We rebuild. Not from their design, from ours. The figure stood, finally removing the last piece of concealment. Remember this. Truth is not always comfortable, but it is the only foundation strong enough to carry what comes next. You are ready. The screens flickered one final time, displaying the ultimate truth, the full timeline of manipulation, deceit, and emotional sabotage. Pap and Remy absorbed it in silence. Pain, rage, grief, but also clarity and strength. They were scarred, but no longer broken. The figure whispered one last time. The next chapter is yours to write. No more edits, no more lies. Just you and the truth. Pap exhaled deeply, determination settling in. Then we take it back. Every piece, every story, every memory. We take it back, together. Remy nodded, a tear rolling down her cheek, but a small, fierce smile breaking through. Together. The screens went dark. Silence. For the first time in years, Pap and Remy were free from the lies, from the manipulation, and from the shadow that had controlled their lives. But freedom was just the beginning. Rebuilding, confronting the world, and healing was the next challenge. The screens remained dark, but the weight of what Pap and Remy had just witnessed lingered like smoke in the air. Pap straightened, a newfound resolve in his eyes. No more hiding. No more excuses. We take back our story, and we tell it on our terms. Remy nodded, wiping away tears, her voice steadying. For too long, we've been manipulated, misrepresented. We've lived someone else's narrative. Now, we're rewriting it. The first step was simple but daunting: acknowledge the truth publicly. Pap pulled out his phone. He drafted a statement. We are no longer silenced by lies or manipulation. We've seen the truth. We've faced the shadows of our past, and we are reclaiming our lives. Everything you thought you knew, now you will know from us, not the rumors. Remy added, we have been through pain, deceit, and betrayal, but we are stronger. We will no longer allow others to control our story. The past does not define us. We define us. They hit post simultaneously. Within minutes, the reactions poured in. Fans expressed shock, support, and relief. Friends and allies shared messages of encouragement. Critics scrambled to respond to the sudden shift in narrative. But Pap and Remy didn't stop there. They scheduled a live session, not for drama, but for clarity. No edits, no filters, no manipulation, just truth, firsthand. Pap looked directly into the camera. For years, we were made to doubt ourselves, doubt each other, and doubt what we knew was real. Today, we set the record straight. The truth is not just our weapon, it's our freedom. Remy followed, voice steady, unwavering. We're not here to accuse anonymously. We're not here to speculate. We're here to share our experience, our perspective, and our healing process. We reclaim our story, and with it, our lives. The live session became an instant sensation. Screenshots, clips, and quotes spread across social media. But unlike the past, Pap and Remy controlled the narrative now. They spoke about the manipulation that had shaped their lives, the lies that had isolated them from loved ones, the way they were forced to question their own reality. And most importantly, they set boundaries. No more speculation. No more intrusion. No more feeding the cycle of deception. Pap looked at Remy, a small smile breaking through. We survived. Now we thrive. Together. Remy nodded, holding his hand tightly. This is just the beginning. But it's our beginning. The world had heard their truth. The manipulators could no longer hide. The lies had been shattered. And for the first time in years, Pap and Remy felt free, empowered, and in control of their lives. After their live declaration, everything had changed for Pap and Remy. Notifications kept flashing on their phones. Fans, media, and critics were reacting in real time. Pap took a deep breath and said, now everyone knows the truth. The next step is figuring out how to rebuild our relationships and our reputation. Remy nodded, her voice calm but firm. No matter how intense people's reactions are, our focus is one thing: taking back our lives and keeping control in our own hands. Their first step was confronting those who had been indirectly involved in the manipulation. Friends and family members who had unknowingly spread lies. Past collaborators and acquaintances whose actions had damaged their image. Pap spoke openly. We realize it's impossible to blame just one person for everything. But accountability is necessary. Anyone who manipulated us, directly or indirectly, needs to clarify their actions. Remy added, we're not saying people should be judged immediately. We only want transparency. The more truth comes out, the more all of us can begin to heal. Reactions on social media were mixed. Supportive messages poured in. Fans praised their bravery. Some people still doubted, but Pap and Remy were prepared for that. They publicly set boundaries, making it clear. No more speculation, no more rumors. Our lives are not content. Respect our truth or stay out of it. Pap looked at Remy with a faint smile. This is the first step toward reclaiming everything that was taken from us. Remy replied, and this is just the beginning. From now on, we live on our own terms. In this moment, amidst the chaos, They felt something rare and powerful for the first time. They felt truly in control of their own story. The chaos had settled, but the aftermath lingered. Pap and Remy stood together, not as victims of manipulation, but as survivors. They had faced the public, confronted those involved, and shared their truth. The world now knew the full story, not through rumors, not through edited clips, but directly from them. Pap spoke softly, with a sense of finality. "We've lost a lot, but we've also gained something no one can take away, our story, told by us." Remy smiled, tears in her eyes, yet resolute. "The past shaped us, yes, but it doesn't define us. We are taking back our lives, our choices, and our peace." Together, they made a promise to protect their hearts, their relationship, and their truth. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more living in shadows. The cameras were off, the screens dark, yet a new light had entered their lives, a light of clarity, freedom, and empowerment. They weren't just surviving anymore. They were rebuilding, stronger than ever on their own terms. The story ended not with destruction, but with truth, healing, and a reclaimed future. And for the first time in years, Pap and Remy could breathe free, whole, and ready to live life as they always deserved.